we're happy to have you.
So, hi everybody. Hi, welcome. And it has been an amazing journey, guys. Welcome to everybody. I can see the Dawn Data is on the call, Sally, and our special guest Daniel, and of course, Peter, Daniel, and thank God, thank you for joining us. Everybody, welcome. Yes, Shagun.
And
So
the greatest
welcome
Saman
to
as
the
well. Saman from Camp Apex as well. He's with us today.
Yes, Saman, welcome to, like the Don Dada himself said, greatness of some presentations. And as we're about to start, I'm hoping we have um, Jennifer on call to give us our welcome address so we can jump right straight into things. Jennifer, are you here with us?
I think I am.
Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. My hair is looking terrible. There we go. Okay, so thank you so much for having me here to give the welcome address. I actually didn't prepare anything, so I'm just going to speak what I have from the bottom of my heart and in my head. Thank you so much for taking this opportunity to all come on this call, including our special guest, Segun, our amazing keynote speaker who was at West Africa Dreaming. It's an honor to see you here on the call. And special thanks will go also to Sally for everything that you've done for the Africa Ohana. I know it's not been an easy road, but you've taken time out of your busy schedule just to be with us, just to help us, just to teach us Salesforce developer um, work and everything. And it takes a few people to do that. Somebody will tell us that they want payment or something, but you did it with all your heart. You gave your all to this sprint. I really appreciate you. And to everyone who also took time to learn being a Salesforce developer, what you have done for yourself is amazing. You have just grown your skills in Salesforce as a developer. And I believe that's a skill that is so much in demand in the Salesforce ecosystem. And you've taken a step ahead to grow your skills. Now, after this, you're going to brag about how much you know Salesforce on being a Salesforce developer, and also about who actually taught you to be a Salesforce developer. Sally is amazing. Thank you so much for everything. And to the Africa Ohana team, who also took time to think about this sprint. I really appreciate you, Caleb. Thank God I see you on the call. You guys are awesome. And to our, I don't know what to call them, judges or people who are here to view our work and to see how much we have gone. I really appreciate you again just for coming to support our initiatives as Africa Ohana. It's gold to us. Your support means the world to us. Please don't stop only with the Africa Ohana, but with other communities that also want the same or need the same support. Totally appreciate. So let me not waste much time. I know people are looking forward to seeing what the groups have in store and prepared for us. Thank you, Saman and Daniel, for being here with us. Thumbs up to you. What do we say? We say big up. Okay, thumbs up and big up. So this is our big up sign in Africa. Big up to you. Thumbs up to you. You are awesome. And I know I was supposed to be part of this sprint. I was supposed to give my all in this sprint just to learn how to be a Salesforce developer. That's what I want. And I'm still going to achieve that. Thank you for the videos that you've been creating, Sally, that are in our YouTube channels. I'll make full use of that. And I know that I will eventually catch up. It might not be soon, but it will definitely happen. And I know you've always been pushing me in my inbox. How far have you gone? You know, that zeal, you've got so much hope in me when it comes to Salesforce developer. And I don't even have that confidence myself. I don't know how to write a single line of code. So when I see everything codey, I just look at it and say, oh, okay. I get confused in everything, but I know that I'll be able to do it with Sally by my side and Daniel and someone. I've put you also on the list of developer mentors. So with you guys by my side, I know I'll achieve a lot. So yeah, let me not waste much time again. As I said, I wasn't really prepared, and I'll be leaving the call after now, as I've got a family commitment to attend to. But I will follow up with the recording, and I really wish you all the best. Well done. The sky is the limit. Don't stop learning. Never underestimate yourself. You've got the power, you've got the passion, you've got everything to keep you going. Thank you so much. Keep well and enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm looking forward to seeing all the code that makes my head buzz, but I guess I'll be prepared for that.
Guys, that was amazing from Jennifer. Very own Mama Africa. Wow. Our first MVP. I'm always proud to say that. So yes, we'll be taking you up on that, Jennifer, on the developer. Another thing to check off your list. So yeah, without much ado, we go on to the next part of our program. That is, I'm bringing in another special guest, someone who has been on the journey with Sally. With a training program from Africa Ohana, and someone who has been very instrumental in the Salesforce space when it comes to teaching learners and equipping learners on what to do when it comes to Salesforce. So, guys, I need to see the emojis. A big round of applause for the one and only Maxwell Tuglo. Maxwell, are you on call? Hi, Maxwell.
Caleb, we have a raised hand. I don't know if it's a question or...
Okay, is this a raised hand? You can go ahead and speak whilst you wait for Maxwell. Oh, it was a mistake.
Sorry. Hi, Caleb.
Yes.
Please confirm if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Sorry, Maxwell wants to join in the call, so I'll just do a brief remark on his behalf. So,
Okay.
first of all, I want to say thank you very much to our wonderful coach Sally. Like, this has been an amazing 1 month, right? I remember we said this immediately after the West African Dreaming. We started this program, and you've been there even before the program started. You've been there all the time. Thank God, can we do this? Thank God, can we do this? Can you get Jennifer to sign up on this? Can you get the comms team to do this? It felt like you were doing more than a coach should. You understand? And this shows that you really have our interest as us, and want to say a very, very big thank you. Yes, we're more than just a developer coach to the community. And I will say thank you very, very much. And also, Jennifer and all the team at Ohana. I know we've been everywhere, putting one or two things in place. And I would say thank you very, very much. We hope that the program for development sprint will be better come next year by the grace of God. You understand? And I also say a big thank you to Daniel. I know when I reached out to Daniel on LinkedIn to say, hi, Daniel, this event is going to be happening on this set date. Daniel was like, cool, I'll be there. I mean, he didn't even think it twice. You understand? He was like, when is the date? Tell me, I'll be there. I was like, okay, awesome. And also, Saman, this is not the first time I've had an encounter with Saman. You get so during our Salesforce flow time, we used to invite someone back in the days to have one or two things with Camp Apex, and it was really wonderful to get. So, Saman, thank you very much for showing up with for Africa Ohana. And I think this is the first time you're actually showing up for Africa Ohana in this space. Again, so we say thank you very much for making our users, allowing our users to use the platform. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very, very much. And also to the rest of everybody. To the rest of everybody.
I'm coming down.
I thank God. Okay. Hello? Okay, guys, confirm if you can hear me.
Can you hear
Yes, we
me?
can.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
All right.
Gotcha.
So, okay, good. So to the rest of the team, right? To the learners, we say thank you for always showing up. I mean, we had about 100 and something people registered for this program, and you all stayed back. It showed commitment. So say thank you for showing up and thank you for wanting to do this. So thank you, everybody, and I hope we have a wonderful demo time.
Yes, yes, like I always say, thank God for thank God. Thank God, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. And, I had something special prepared for Sally, and the next person is to speak to us and give us an insight and bless us with energy and so much positivity is Sally. Sally, I'd like to give you the opportunity to say something to us whilst we jump right into things. So, guys. Yes,
Yeah,
Sally.
thank you so much, Caleb.
The stage is
So
yours.
you can hear me now, right? Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I was super excited about this sprint, and I want to thank everyone. I know it was a short sprint, condensed. So I want to thank everyone who will be demoing today, because you are the ones who worked really hard, even when the timeline was super tense and super stressed. And you showed up, you committed, you tried your best to finish all the assignments, you wanted to learn. And that's number one quality we are looking for any developer, because you will never stop learning. Learning will keep going and going. And it's only when you want to learn is when you will succeed. So, I love helping, I love coding, and I was super happy to work with every single person of the group who's presenting today. And I don't want you to stop learning. The journey is still ahead of you, so you don't stop now. It's just the beginning. And for anyone who's watching, you don't need to have a bachelor degree in computer science. You don't need to have coding experience to make it happen. The process is easy. We are trying to make it approachable for non-technical people to learn and fall in love. You just have to trust the process, follow the instructions, work really hard, and ask questions. I always say to everyone, ask questions. This is the way you will learn, myself included. When I join any training now or any live session, you will find me one of the persons who are always asking questions, because I don't know everything and I don't need to know everything, but I have to keep being curious. I have to ask questions to learn more and to benefit. So the same for everyone. And thank you, Africa Ohana, and everyone on the team for the opportunity and giving me the chance to be part of this journey. It's very fulfilling, even if we didn't end up with a big quantity crossing the finish line for the cohort, but the quality and the finish line is more important than the quantity. So I love how everyone on the team who's presenting today really, really worked hard. And I want to thank Saman. We have been always in touch together, trying to communicate and see how we can collaborate. And this was one of our startup trial and seeing how things can work. And we appreciate everything you do through Camp Apex, and that it's approachable, free, everyone can use it. And I really enjoyed working with you and getting things sorted. You helped me as well, creating more exercise, different from what you started having at the beginning when we spoke about it. So I really appreciate it and thank you for that. Uh, and it's not the last time we will collaborate together. I'm sure we'll be working together on other initiatives and other great things. And also, I want to thank Daniel. Daniel is a very great person. If anyone didn't meet him in person or work with him, he's the greatest. Like, I had the opportunity and chance to work with him. And I'm always grateful for my mentors. And one of my mentors is Daniel Peter. And I really appreciate everything along the way, from help technical, from support, from advice for career. Like, I'm really grateful for you for a lot of things that I have achieved. And That's why, like, you have to know everyone, like, you will always have a mentor. And even when you grow in your career, be ready to give back for others. Like, you will always have someone above you that can help you and someone who needs your help. So it's not like you will always get the help, and that's it. The Salesforce community is built upon like mentors and helping each other. And yeah, Daniel, I'm really grateful and thank you for accepting the invitation for coming today and checking the great people. And like, just heads up, like, they had only 4 weeks to learn Apex, so it's very, very tense deadline for them, and they did great. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone on the call again who came to cheer for the teams and for the team being here on time and getting ready for their presentation. Good luck. And as I mentioned, no stress. We are here to celebrate you and like, just cheer for you. So don't be stressed. Anything that goes wrong, we are here to support you. Show your best and explain what you have learned. And we are here to support you and celebrate your success. So thank you so much, everyone.
Yes. The Don Dada has said it himself. He said part of the presentation, part of the demo is dealing with what goes wrong. And Sally couldn't have said it anymore. We are grateful to everyone on this call and everybody who has made this possible. We are about to jump right into things, right into the demo where we get things going. And like Sally said, yeah, they did have a short time, but we're hoping for the best. So jumping straight into it, we have our first group. That's if they're ready. The first group is, sorry, I need to get the first group out. Give me 1 second, guys. Yep. Afro Coders. Afro Coders, do you have your representatives on call right now? Afro Coders, that's Adeshola, Nahom, Gautam, Razak, and Joe Machango.
We're here.
Yes. Afro Coders.
We're
First of all,
here.
congratulations for making it this far. And yep, the stage is all yours. We are ready for you, guys. Yes, Afro Coders, we are ready for you right now.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Where is, sorry.
And we see you too.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry. All right. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I would like to say welcome, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, and we are happy to present for you what we have built today. What we're gonna share with you is the Salesforce Project Management app. My name is Nahamun, and before I start, I would like to say thank you, Africa Ohana, for organizing such event. That's really, I mean, it's not an event, but it's a sprint, and we really love it for someone like me who didn't have a tech background. Really learning, and also the plan is, and my goal is to be a developer, and for Sally for being there, for teaching us. And it's really amazing for my team as well. We didn't quit. We still being here, until the end. So what we build is it's a project, a Salesforce mini project management app, and this management app will be used for people like, let's say we have a client, and then they will come and tell us like, we need a validation rule, we need a due date that will, block people's when they try to insert something that's in the past, the due date is in the past, and also a validation rule like to prevent people not to lower grade, like let's say a priority is in high, and then they will accidentally make it to a medium or something like that. And when you create a new project, sometimes by accident you will put the status to be completed or something, or in progress, but it's a new project, so it have to be not started, and then we want to build that app. And one of my favorite thing from data type is Boolean, and it's because its answer is like the result will be true or false. So either it will be true or false, no matter what the question or the complexity is. So let's say if Sally is an amazing teacher, that will be true, and she is really a good teacher, and that would be true as well. So the result would be Sally's really amazing teacher, and we love you. I don't know how to thank you, because you're doing this no matter what the time is, you'll answer for us. And yeah, so I will pass it to the next person. That will be Adishola, the only female in our team. She didn't quit. She stays strong, and she's fighting until the end. And thank you. If you have any question or feedback, we would like to answer it at the end of the session, our presentation. So thank you, guys.
Hi, good evening, everyone, or good morning, or good afternoon from anywhere in the world that you're here from. Thank you for the introduction, Nahum. My name is Adeshola from Afro Coders, and we're really excited to present what we have worked on as a group. I'll be walking you through the project task trigger and the portions of the requirements. But before we go into the technical details, I would like to I would like to give us some context on how our projects had evolved from the beginning to where we are today. We all started traditional beginner-friendly coding methods in our individual orgs, and we're excited to share with each other the code that worked that we had. We're so excited. Then, even though they worked, we quickly realized that, okay, this is not best practice, and it's just getting longer and longer and longer. Then through our multiple meetings, we were able to review each other's codes, put some ideas into it, and even we found some enhancements in the middle of all of this. And we were able to refine our approach to how we were going to do our work. Anyways, enough said about that. Let's go straight into the triggers that we have in front of us. So I'll walk you through the trigger code itself and explain how each part came together. Okay, so when we look at the first line of Apex code, we see that it's a before insert and before update code. So we have a few requirements that we have for our projects, and I'll be talking about the future date validation and the is complete prevention when inserting a task. So for the first requirement, which is the future date validation, we needed to ensure that the due date is in the future. That is when this happens when you're inserting a new task. and also when you're updating an existing one, right? Like if someone tries to set a due date for today or in the past, the idea is to block the action completely, not make that happen to encourage the proper business process, right? So the other requirement I'll be talking about is complete prevention when we insert a task. Now, we want to prevent users from marking a brand new task. Like, okay, a project manager just started a project, just inserted a project, and for some reason somebody just puts it to complete. That just ends the whole process. So we want to prevent that and to make sure that every task goes through the lifecycle properly. That is, get created first and get marked as complete later through the update, right? That is the process that we want to follow. Now, we made the decision, right, to use the before context because our requirements are heavily focused on validation and control fields. So we decided that okay, we decided to take a switch. We decided to make our first shift. I think I'm in a hurry. To make our first shift away from the beginner-friendly coding methods so that we can have a more concise and clear code. So we decided to use the switch method. Because as we said, our earlier code had if and else statements, and this was giving us issues after it started getting longer and longer and longer. So with the switch, what we noticed was that we were able to separate the trigger from the business logic using the handler class, which is like the best practice in Salesforce, right? Where the trigger is only going to route to the handler, and the handler itself contains the actual validation logic. So the trigger looks neat and tidy and everything. So we upgraded to the switch, like I have said. And in this case, we have when we have a before insert that like the trigger new. Now, this only happens when we have a new project task to be created. So instead of placing the logic directly inside the trigger, we delegate the responsibility to the handler method. That's the handle before insert. So this means that by using the trigger.new, we are sending the handler the list of the new tasks. So everything goes together. It's not one at a time. Everything goes to the list of new task records that we're about to save. This allows for the handler itself to focus on other things. Anyways, so the separation of the trigger from the handler just makes everything tidy, makes each aspect focus on what it is that it is meant to do. That the trigger is focused on task creation and not modifications, right? So now we move further to when we have the trigger.new and the trigger.old map, right? This line of code will run when there's an existing task to be modified. So there's the trigger that is new and the trigger that is old. Let's explain it that way. So at
Andy,
this
quick
stage,
thing. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Nahum, like your picture is on the way, so I don't think everyone see the code that Adi is talking about. You have your picture hiding the text. I don't want you to like lose everyone focus as well. So if you can hide your picture.
thank you, Sally.
You're welcome.
We're waiting for you now.
Sorry, okay. Wait.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So I was talking about the no, this is not the right one. I'm still on project task trigger. Thank you. Thank you so much. Anyway, let's continue. So we have the trigger.new and the trigger.old map, and we decided to use this for in the situation where we already know that the task exists in the system, in the org, and we need to understand that when new values come, there can be an update or a change happening. So in that case, we had the two methods that the trigger was going to receive two inputs, which is the trigger.new and the trigger.old map. The .new is for when a user is just currently saving the tasks that or the projects that is being added into the system, and the .old map represents the records that have been updated at the time. Yeah. So having this two, let's looking at a typical example for when this tool will be useful. We have like the checkbox requirement. So changing from false to true, like if the checkbox is checked or unchecked, or maybe when the high priority is being downgraded. Without these two methods, our the rules of the business will be impossible to enforce. Again, let me clarify what we did here. What we did was that instead of crowding the trigger with logic, right, we delegated the responsibility to the handler. That is why the trigger looks very tidy and neat, and the handler has all the logic within it. So this keeps the trigger focused on just routing all of the information to where it's supposed to go, and the handler will focus on the business rules itself. So quickly going to the project trigger. This is in this case we remember that the requirements that we have is that we needed to create a master data relationship from the project to the project task. That means we need to first have our projects created within the system before a project task can be created. So what this does is first checks whether there's an ID in the system before we can create a related task. And that is the verification part, which is the before insert. Yeah. So, and the after insert is when the record itself gets created. And when this record gets created, that is the kickoff task. Yes, that's kickoff task. I was trying to remember what that was. When the kickoff start gets created, what happens is the project now is able to find an ID from the project itself, which is the master in this case. And in that case, we can have a reference and a child record can be created. So to display all of this that I have talked about, I'm going to hand over to Joel, who is going to go through the handler section of this trigger code that I've explained and show us in the UI how this works live. Thank you very much for listening. Over to you, Joel.
Thank you, Adeshala. Let me share my screen. Oops. Can you see this? You can see my screen?
Yes, all good. We see half the UI, half the trigger, and we see you.
Yeah. So this is the project management app. Project management app. We created the two objects and created an app using Salesforce. And also we added some logos and customized it for this app. So I'm going to demo what Adeshola has just mentioned. So for our first handler, we have the project task trigger handler. And in this, we are breaking it into before insert and before update. And in the before insert method, we are validating the new tasks. And in our validation of the new tasks, we are ensuring that a new date cannot be set today or in the past. And also we are preventing creating a completed task. So when you come to creating a new project task, so I'll try a task, let's say 10. We select one of the projects. Why are you not loading? Let me refresh it. So I'm creating a new task. So you'll put the name of the task, and then status can remain as, let's just create a project. I don't know why it's not loading. Let's just create a task. So we'll demo this for the next section. But let's just have this as the project. So you've added the name of the task and the project. So the project is the master object to the project task object. And for here, we want to test that you can't add the date as today. So this should not allow. A priority is a required field. So let's add that first. So you can't add today as the due date. So this should not. So it has not accepted adding today as the due date. And this, we are doing this with the validate new task private object in the project task trigger handler. So that's one of the checks we are doing. We're also checking that you cannot create a date that is a past date. So that is also not allowed. We are also checking that you cannot create a date that's complete, a task that's complete. So if you create a date, let's say a date is correctly placed, but the complete is marked as true, this should not work. So a new task cannot be marked as complete. So we can test if it's not complete, if that will work. So if the correct validations are pass, a new task is successfully created. So those are the validations that we are checking for a new task. We are also checking for an updated task. We are validating updated tasks. So once we've created the task, we also don't want the future date to be set to today or a day in the past. So today is date 16. So this is not allowed. And also a day in the past is not allowed. So we are also checking that if it's complete, if you update is complete, if you update is complete, if you update the status to is complete, the is complete flag should also be updated from false to true. So if the due date is set correctly to date 1, so you should also update the from progress to complete. This will also automatically update. Want it to be complete. It's not. I don't know what's happening here. Also, when you update the is complete check to complete, the status should update to complete. So that has worked. I don't know why the first one did not work, but it had worked while we were testing. They break during the demo. So the other business rule that we are checking is the priority. Once it's set to high, you cannot update it to low or medium. So once the priority is set to high, it cannot be lowered. So if you try to update from high to medium, it should not work. Priority cannot be lowered from high. Also, if you try to lower it to any other value, even if the pick list for priority is updated, and let's say you have another pick list value, it will not allow you to lower the priority from high. In this trigger handler, we added 2 enhancements. I think I've already shown that. So that's when the status become complete. We also set is complete to true. And when it becomes incomplete, this should also be updated to, currently we are setting to in progress, but if, yeah, that has worked. If the business wants this status to be another value, we can update it here too. So that's for the tasks section. The second trigger that Adeshola was explaining is the project trigger for the new list, and old map. These are we are adding them here on the handler, and then in the trigger we are providing the new trigger.new and trigger.old map, so that we have a clean trigger and all the logic is being handled in the trigger handler. So that's the logic for the project task trigger handler. So for the other section that Adeshola was explaining is the project trigger. We did the same here. We added a project trigger handler so that we can remove the logic from the trigger itself so that it's best practice. And here we needed to, for every new record, every new project record, we want to automatically create the kickoff task. So here we are going to test adding a new project. And add the due date, the start date. And for this one, when we are adding this, we expect end date, we can set it to 25th. We expect it to add the kickoff task, and the kickoff task should be linked to this project because we are referencing the project ID, and the priority should be set to medium and the status not started, and also set the due date for this kickoff task to be 2 days from the day it's created. So the due dates for this should be today plus 2 days. So when we create this, we've successfully created the task. And if we go to the related, we can see that the kickoff task was created and the due date is 18th and today is 16th. So it has added 2 days from today. And also the priority is medium. Yeah, everything that we wanted has been, and the name has been set as we wanted. On this trigger handler,
Hi guys, you
this
have
one you
about
found.
5 minutes more for your presentation, so sorry to cut your concentration there, just letting you know.
All right, so I'll now pass it over to Razak, who will talk more about the unit tests.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, everyone. I am Razak, and I'll be walking you through. Joe, thank you for the code presentation. Okay, no, just choose it. Okay. Thank you very much for the code presentation. Okay.
Razak, I think
I'll be
you're
my name
like you're joining Zoom with 2 users and it's causing an echo. So if you can mute one of them.
Pardon?
There was an echo and I see 2 users for you.
Join. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll be walking you through our testing strategy, specifically focusing on unit tests, test setup, and test data factory. The basics of testing is at its core. We test our methods, triggers, and classes in isolation to ensure specific codes behave exactly the same way we expect it to. This is not about just the code coverage, yeah? It's about identifying errors quickly enough, identifying bugs quickly enough to correct it. So we talk about test setup. Test setup it makes codes efficient enough, and we use it within single test class. We use test setup, test rather. Test is just to make sure our codes run very well, effectively enough. And now I'm going on to test setup. So test setup is used within single test class. Instead of writing code to create projects record, instead of inside every single test method, we define it once in the setup method. This eliminates repetition. So setup method, what I'm saying is setup method eliminates repetitions of datas or codes. So we write it once in the test setup method, and we refer it from other test methods as well. So test data factory is a larger scale, is way broader than test setup. So we use test data factory. Just imagine we added a new required field to account object. So account object has its own test class, and let's say contact opportunities. We have list of objects like that with test classes. So having tests set up in all those classes method, it's not automation anymore. It's manual work. So test data factory, that's where test data factory comes in. It's like a unified library where every other test classes can just go into the test data factory and withdraw any code, any data they need, instead of repeating each line of code every time we need to use it. So one of the things we make use of as well is the bulkification of code. So this allows us to avoid governor limits. It allows us to avoid governor limits when we are running codes. And one of the best practices is not to query SOQL and DML inside a loop. So because we have to go into the hog to show you. So I would hand over to my brother,
I
Gotham.
am so sorry, Afro Coders. I am so sorry. This was a beautiful presentation. I mean, we were having a good time, and we learned so much from it. But so sorry, you have 20 minutes to present, and I think you're already 5 past that. You're lucky you don't have Thank God as your moderator today because he is really strict in that. Yes, so you did do the 25 minutes. So guys, I think I'll need to call on we have some special guests. As okay, so I think I can give you the grace period of the 5 minutes. Sally's saying 25 minutes, so you've done 25 minutes, so I'm going to grace you with just 5 minutes, guys. It's Christmas, so
All right. Thank you,
okay,
Caleb. Thank you,
all
sir.
right.
Thank you, bro. So I'll just hand over to Gotham now to run into the org to show you the code that which work and the testament. Gotham, over to you.
Gotham, if you're talking, we cannot hear you.
Afro Coders, are they okay? So I think Ade's having some difficulties. All right, so guys, before we move on to the next group, I would like to give a special shout out to our special guests today. We would like them to say something and give some feedback on what is being shared today. So, guys, I want to see the emojis. I'm going to introduce them one after the other. For our first special guest, we have Saman from Camp Apex. Saman, if you are on call right now, we are so happy to have you here. And if you could say a word or two right now, and I give Daniel to the opportunity, and then we can give the feedback to the presentation we just had.
Perfect. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon. So cool to see what you guys have been building and learning over this past month. I'm Saman. I'm a senior software engineer. I build Salesforce apps, Next.js apps. Overall, love building, regardless of what it is. So super glad to be here with y'all. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys. That is Saman, and as Sally said earlier, one of her mentors. We are so happy and proud and privileged to have him on the call and supporting our community. Next, we have Daniel. Daniel, if you're on call, can you just say a word or two for us before you give your feedback on the presentation that was just had?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Daniel Peter. I'm a Salesforce MVP Hall of Fame member. I've been in the ecosystem about 17 years now and done a lot of different things. Worked for Salesforce customers as a developer. I worked for ISV partners building Salesforce apps. I worked with Sally at Robots and Pencils, an SI consulting firm. So we've done on the services side. And currently, I'm actually helping my cousin relaunch a big factory that manufactures cheese and butter. And we're redoing the whole factory using Salesforce. So it's a really fun project that I'm undertaking right now, but ton of work. And yeah, fantastic presentation, but I'll give more detailed feedback when you guys want it.
Great. Guys, you have no idea. Big ups to Africa, Ohana, and Code with Sally for bringing Daniel and Saman on this call. And I'm just blown away with that CV right there, Daniel. So, guys, right now, Daniel, Peter, Sally, Daniel and Peter, you are special judges today. Would like to hear some feedback, and Afro Coders would also like to know how well they did with their presentation. The floor is yours, guys.
Daniel, would you like to
do
go
you
first?
want to start? Yeah. Okay, I'll start. Yeah, so I just wanted to point out, coding is one thing, but kind of understanding, what you're doing and the architecture is another. And I really did see a good understanding. I love seeing the trigger as an example of not a best practice, and then how it evolved into the trigger handler, and why you should use a trigger handler. So it really seemed like you understood the benefits of that. So that's not often something you see people that are this early in their journey. They write code, but they don't really understand kind of why they're doing it. So I was really impressed at that, seeing why. The other thing I wanted to point out, I saw the validations being done in Apex, and I just wanted to make sure that you understood you can do validations at the record level as well as the field level. And those ones were done at the record level, which oftentimes is necessary when your validation applies to multiple fields, or maybe not even a field on the object. It applies to some other condition that's not even related. But I think in this case, they were really related to fields. So I was curious if you guys tried using the add error method at the field level, because then in the UI, you'll see that error message right on the field. Like if it's the is completed field, or status field, or priority field, you'll see the error, and it sort of draws your eye right to where that error is, so you can quickly correct it. So if you haven't tried that, maybe experiment with that just to see how it looks different in the UI.
I have to
you may
jump
want
in
to.
here, Daniel, just to give you an idea
Yeah,
why they did it that way. It's because we were
sure.
focused on like what they learned so far during the month for the triggers and the trigger handlers and the test classes. So we even like before starting, like we gave them the requirements, and we said like even though some of those can be done with for like validation rules, feed level security as feed level like required like checkboxes, page layouts, and so on. We said like for this use case and for this project, we'll go all in coding, just to have like not to overcomplicate the requirements for them as it's their first project, but to as well like experiment how to do it with Apex. But because they are coming with the background on like admin phase, so this is something like we discussed, like it's best practice to do points and clicks over like coding, but for the purpose of this project, we'll go all in development. So you will see it for all the projects because it's a common requirement across all of them.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, so that's a whole nother point. A lot of these things can be done declaratively, but I meant even within Apex, you can add the error at the record or field level. You can put either the record name dot add error or the record name dot field name dot add error. So I was just curious if they played with that or not.
I don't
I
think
think
they got the chance to do it.
Yeah, that's something fun to see how it looks different in the UI. Yeah, I think I took some other screenshots, but maybe I won't hog the floor too much. I don't know how much time we have, but those were the two main things I wanted to mention. I have more, but let's get some more feedback, and then if we have more time, I can circle back with my screenshots.
Yeah, and then from my side, just to echo what's been said, I love the narrative that y'all and the story that you kind of took us through of showing us what an initial approach is, why that's not the best, and kind of iterate on that thought. Because that's a lot of how software development just goes in general. You start off with an initial idea, you increment on it, you improve on it just slightly over time, and ultimately you end up with a better piece of software. So I loved how you guys kind of showed us that narrative here too. I love that you guys are already thinking about using those trigger handlers. There's a lot of really fancy frameworks out there, and eventually you guys will all become pros on how to use those as well. And I think starting off by just recognizing the importance of it and how it allows you to have that separation of concerns and invert dependencies, it's a great place to start. So kudos to you guys for that. Also, I know we didn't get to fully see all the test code, but I just wanted to shout out the use of the test data factory. Again, there's a lot of different ways and opinions on what a test data factory should look like, but you got to rip that band-aid off and build one yourself sometimes, right? Just to get an idea of what it is before you get into those more like nuanced conversations. So again, I just love that you guys are taking the time and the effort to build that out instead of just doing it in line within the test class itself. So that's huge. One point of feedback was we kind of saw it in the demo. You might have individual lines of code that work well on their own. I'm talking about like that completed status versus the completed checkbox. And both those if statements, they work really well on their own, but when they're coupled together, they kind of start interfering with one another. And that's where it's really important to do those code reviews, build really good tests that are testing both the positive and negative scenarios. So you can kind of have that built into the system, those checks. But overall, I loved what I see and just wanted to say kudos to you guys.
Thank thank you so much, Saman. Daniel, I could give you 5 minutes to just iterate on what you were talking about before, and take it easy on the learners, guys. They did their best in such a short time. But Daniel, yep, you can go ahead
Yeah,
and
no, it
give your
was
feedback.
overall, I was very impressed. If I say anything that it's more just I'm pointing out like next level stuff to explore, but I'm by no means I mean this is great work. Yeah, so on the also getting more into the test factories, that looked very good to me for what you were doing, the way you're generating the test data, like reusable test data factories. That's a more advanced topic. I just wanted to mention some of the value. I heard you some reasons of the tests. I heard you talking about test coverage and things like that, and I'm pretty sure you guys understand this, but I always like to think of the test methods as like security or insurance against not breaking your app in the future. So when you try to deploy things, it actually, if you run those tests, they're passing, and then you deploy something and they break. Well, now you know that you caught an error in your new development before the user is going to catch it. So the more of those you can build to sort of cover all the use cases, the more you can ensure your app is going to work for years to come. When other developers come in and build new things, you're like, locking in the business logic to make sure that it's always doing what you expect it to do. So I know sometimes we think of these test methods as just a chore and to get the code coverage, but just because your code works now, well, the test method can ensure it's going to work in the future when people make changes in the org. So that's a pretty important thing to help you get through all the grunt work of building those test methods, to understand, well, it's not just work for code coverage. There's actually a purpose behind it. So I'm pretty sure you guys understood that, and I kind of heard you talking about it. I decided to talk about it a little more.
Okay. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you, Saman, for your feedback. And thank you, Afro Coders, for such a beautiful presentation. So because of time, we move on to our next presentation. That's Apex Nerds. I love the names you guys came up with these stuff. Afro Coders, Apex Nerds. Sally, you have a beautiful cohort here. It's like the imagination is crazy. So yeah, Apex Nerds, if you're on call, we are ready for you guys. So Apex Nerds, we have Ayub, Sami, Ivy, Jonathan, and Nkuruka Onwuzulike. Sorry if I'm butchering your name, but Nkuruka, Jonathan, Ivy, and Ayub. We are ready for you guys right now.
Yes,
Nikki,
good evening.
are you ready?
Yes,
Okay, so should I share the screen?
yes. So you can share the PDF first. Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So we are Apex Neg, and we have Ayub from Morocco, we have Ivy from Kenya, we have Jonathan from Ghana, and we have Nkiru from Nigeria. So as a team, we tackle the requirements by having all members to watch assigned videos. We developed individual solutions in separate orgs. Then we conducted collaborative code reviews with live demonstration. And sorry, you can go to the slide. you can. So I'm talking about the requirements that because of time, I won't be saying the story. So let's look at the requirements, a summary of it. So we conducted collaborative code reviews with live demonstration, and we consolidated solutions using agreed best practices like proper naming conventions and error handling. The main challenge were the large volumes of videos and limited time, which we overcame by watching at least 3 videos daily and practicing the concepts immediately. Yes, we would recommend this section to any person that would like to learn Apex code because it was valuable, and it's also valuable for learning future proven techniques, which will enable learners to write their first Apex code with little or no supervision. So we are going to skip question 1 and 2. So I'm going to start with question 4. So please, can we go to the org? But before we get to the org, question 4, can we get to the org, Ayub? Like developer console.
Ayo, she's talking about the projects. The projects.
The project.
The projects trigger.
Is it trigger handler or the trigger?
Is the requirement I want to see.
Yeah.
No, the requirement, not this one, not switch. So before he gets there, the question has to do with whenever a new project is created, the solution that we had was that whenever a new project is created, Salesforce must create a default task called kickoff task. Due date should be equals to start date plus 2 days. Then priority should be equals to medium, and status should be equals to not started. We are not yet there. Not switch statement.
What did you mean by requirement?
She wants the handler.
The requirement, yes.
Okay.
Yes, can you scroll down to the requirements? I think you're too fast. Please, can you scroll up a bit, like from the start? Okay. Okay, why did we use after insert? This is because project task has a master detail relationship to project. A child cannot be created until the parent exists, and an ID can be assigned after insert. So we created, at first we were trying to create like, can you highlight the first from line 32 to 41? So at first we were trying to create 2 different lists, but we saw that the error log wasn't working out. So I'm going to focus on this because we're trying to do something extra. But I'm going to focus on this list project tags, which is in line 33. So that's what stores new project task records. Then when we look at the remaining part of line of from that 32 to 43, so we are looking at for each new project, we are telling Salesforce that it should construct a new project task record, which the name should be kickoff task, that it must be required. Due date new projects should have +2. Then priority should be medium, which is required. Status should be not started, which is also required. Then the new project should have an ID, which establishes a master detail relationship. So let's look at the demo. So Ayub, you can go to your setup. Okay, I already did. Okay, click on click on project, then click on new. So you can title the project website redesign. Like website, no project, website redesign. Then give it space, then redesign or anything, just redesign. Redesign, RE. Okay, anything. Then you can place the start date to let's place the start date to today. No. Please let's place the start date to today. Then you can place the end date to after 2 days. Let's say 18th. Okay, then you can save. Okay, so when we check, can you click on related? Related. So when you check this, you will see that the kickoff task has already been created, and the kickoff task has non-started and medium, which is the major requirements. Please, can you go back again? Then let's see if we can. So I think that's all for question 4. So the key feature of what we have done is that the the project is being handled when it handles multiple projects in a single transaction. So because of what we have done, a lot of project tasks can be created. Then also, whenever it also checks that kickoff task is always created. So because of what we have done, we are able to get the kickoff task whenever a new project is created, and the due date, there's always +2 after the due date. There's always priority medium, then there's always status not started, and every new project has an ID. So I think I'm going to hand over to Jonathan.
Maybe we can do there was something in addition we had added. We had a few more extra validations that maybe we can show. So for the project, if you create a new project, we also validated that it has a name and the start date as well. If you tried to do a start date in the past, we blocked that simply because the project task kickoff requires it to be greater than today. So we blocked, if you try to do something in the past, it will not allow you to do that. Yeah, so we had that. We also added a validation for the project name as well. Yeah. So in addition to what Nikki has presented. Yeah. Joe, you can proceed.
Joe, can you share the screen on your own, or you want me to help you too?
Yeah, I can share the screen on my own as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, the second part of the requirement was to sort of handle tasks that are created after a project is created. So I quickly just like Nkuruka mentioned, we separated the handler from the trigger, and then I'll quickly start from the trigger bit and why we did certain things in the trigger. So we can see that in the trigger, we have the before insert and then the before updates. In the before insert, what we're doing, the idea behind it is that we're trying to check for new records that are being inserted. So we thought it wise that for efficiency and then running to make it more efficient, or the code run more efficiently, we were not going to load it, but provide only the needed data And as and when we are expanding the project and we need more information, then we can add it when the project builds up. So for the before insert, we only included the new list of records, which is the trigger.new, which is what the trigger.new provides. And then for the reason for which we had only this is because we only use it we are only more concerned in the before insert. So we only provided a new list. In the before updates, we provided the new list and also a map of both the old records that are being given to us in the trigger.old map. The reason for which we added the old map was because we needed to compare some values between the old records that have been updated and then the new records that we want to insert, so that if there are some differences, we try to make the logic quite clear. So I go into the requirements clearly. So one of the requirements was to sort of one of the key requirements was to make sure that every time the record is created, the due date cannot be today or in the past. And to do that, we try to separate the logic and then make the code so modular that we can reuse bits and pieces of the code in different sections of the project that we're working on. So for instance, you can see that we have a method here, which is a private method, and then we were using that to validate the due date, to first of check if the due date is below, is either today or is in the past, we are going to throw the error. And this method, we wrote it once, but we're able to use it in two different sections of the code, so that we didn't have to write the same logic here and then also repeat the same logic here. So that's how come we did, we had one method, but we were able to call it in different places. The second requirement was also to sort of ensure that every time the checkbox for is completed is ticked, the status of the task is also automatically set to completed. So first off, we are checking if it's completed is selected or if the status is equal to completed. Here, we didn't only use the checkbox, but we also added is completed here, just so we ensure that we are not running this logic multiple times, but we wanted to always make sure that it is running as and when we need it to run, which is why we added these two logics in there. The other one has to do with we not being able to set the priority value to any value that is below, how do you call it, high. So first off, this is exactly the reason for which we added the trigger.old map to it, so that we get access to the list of old records and then we can now compare the values. So quickly, we first off get the old value for the priority here, and then we check if the old values priority is not equals to the new priorities value, then we throw the error that you cannot have anything, the priority value to be below high. So it is always checking that these two conditions has to be true, and then we are throwing the error. And the last one is also when we are checking if the project status is completed. Yes. So basically, this is what we have for the project task, and also to quickly add up something that we sort of quickly did not talk about. I quickly talk through it so that we can continue. Is in the project. So just a quick add up to what my colleague explained earlier on. We also had this error. We had an object that we were trying to use to, how do you call it, collect all the errors that we are inserting. So for instance, in this piece of code, every time we are trying to insert a new, how do you call it, list of records, we are trying to ensure that we are able to capture or like get all the errors that were not inserted. So first off, we have a list of we created a list, and in this list here, we first initialize it to 0, empty, so that we can now look at the results that we want to insert from here. So when we insert this list, the results that we are passing here, every time we look, we are trying to check if there were failed, how do you call it, records in there, because in the database.insert, we are going to insert all the records that did not fail, and then the ones that failed would have the data for it. So then we are now here looping through all the lists and then getting the ones that failed. And then when we get the ones that failed, we are now logging it in the database so that we can make use of it. So I quickly go into the front end and then show what we did. So I will make use of the website design that my colleague created. And then I go into, first off, try to create a new task. And then we select this one. And then we mentioned that we cannot have due dates in the past. So if we try to put due dates in the past, and the priority, it throws the error. And then also, when we try to, let's say, put the date of the day, it also throws an error. But you can have the dates in the future, which is fine, which is 2 days before. So if I put the date in the future, then it should be okay to create it. Right. And also another validation that we added to it is that every time we set the status of this field to checked, it should automatically change the status here to completed. Right. And one other thing also that we did is that because we had a validation that prevented inserting a new task if the status is set to completed. So I can quickly go ahead and then demo that one. Okay, a new task cannot be set to completed. And then if I try to say this one is not started, but then it's completed, it's checked, it also blocks it. A new task cannot be set to completed. So these are the how do you call it, the demo for the two. So yes. So talking about the errors that I showed, one thing that we learned during the code review, and it caught us by surprise. You can see that in certain sections, it was intentionally designed that way, just so we can share it to the team or to other groups. We were using system.error, and what we did here was that we were using a custom label. Initially, when we developed the project, all of them, or every section had the add error message, and we were manually entering the error message here. But when we were doing the testing, where one of my colleagues will explain further, we did a change on one of the texts, and then our test classes were running into errors. We noticed that we had to go back and change it in every section where we had used this particular piece of text. And then we got to know that it is also possible to use a custom label. So rather than going into the code and then changing it at every place, we just use the custom label, and then we just find that particular custom label, and then we just made the change on the custom label, and then it will just be propagated to every section where this custom label has been used without you having to manually go in and then change it individually. And finally, also, it helps also with translation so that you can have different translations of the same piece of text without manually changing a lot of things. So I would hand over to Ivy to work on the other parts of the work.
Thanks, Joe. I'll just go ahead and share my screen. So I'll be walking through the additional task, which was to create a search utility. And the first one was to show the use of SOQL. And then the next one was to show the use of SOSL and then return a wrapper. Yes, so you can see how we all started. We started by first learning SOSL, and then we fine-tuned that to work with a search wrapper. So the first one was we needed to create a method for the SOQL, which received a search filter that then would be used to get the status, or rather return the project tasks with the project details. So we kind of just, these are the fields we took. We took the name, the status, the priority due date. And then for the project, we took the name, the start date, and the end date for it. And we returned that in one list. And I'll do a quick demo from the console log for us to see that. And then for the SOSL, we create a search results filter. And this is what we were supposed to return: the object type, the name, additional info, and record list. So for us to be able to return the record list, we learned that we needed to initialize it. And so we created this method to be able to initialize the records list so that we could be able to use it in our search util. Here, the requirement was to pass in a keyword, which would then use to search in all the name fields and return account, contact, project, or project tasks where the name is the keyword you've passed in or the search word that you've passed in. And then for it, we were supposed to populate and return the search results wrapper. And so this is how we went about it. So of course, as we learned in class, the SOSL returns a list of SO objects. So we looked through those lists to be able to create our search results wrapper. We use the schema SO object type plus the get describe.get name to be able to give us the object name as well as the object type so that we could be able to populate that. We didn't populate the additional info. We got a bit confused on what to show there. So we added our own instead, which is the records list. And so for this, we then loop through the actual record. So I will show a quick example of how that looks like. And then you get the results and add them to the record list. So ideally, if you have a record here that is the account, you'll be able to get you'll see the details that this is the account. And these are the records that are within the account for contact, for project, and for project task. And then we just system debug them for us to be able to show that as well.
Okay,
right.
Apex nerds, sorry, but you have about 5 minutes. My grace.
Okay, so I'm just going to hand it over. So if you run this, you'll be able to just see. So I'll hand it over so that you can see quickly be able to see the test classes. Over to you, Ayo.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you for being here to watch our demo. So I'll just make it as quick as possible. So here is our unit test. So we try to pull as much scenarios as possible and to check whether project is scalable and maintainable. But anyways, we started here by setting a test setup. So we don't create records on each scenario. So our records is in the data factory. So we try to create a simple project that has this name, start date for today, since we need that to set our due date, and we set for it a child record, which is a project task that has a test project task, due date, it's a project start date plus 2 days, priority set to medium, and of course the master detail to ensure the relationship, status to not started, and is completed. So that's our test record. So we will start by the first scenario, which is creating a simple project, inserting a simple project record. So we expect to insert successfully without anything. So that's our first scenario. The second scenario is check if the following project task that's name is kickoff task as my friend Mkiroka showed you. We check in this scenario for this particular record to be created for our parent record. So that's the second scenario. Moving to the negative scenario. So the first one is to test if, as my friend Joe told you, we set a validation rule for the start date to not be in the past, only today or in the future. So we're testing that scenario here, and we're expecting it to fail because a start date should not indicate any date in the past. So that's the negative scenario, the first negative scenario. Moving to the next one, uh, we're testing validate a project name, like as my friend Joe also said that we also set a validation rule for the name. So we expect an error for a record that does not have that particular field, which is name. So we're expecting that the project name is required. So to the next scenario is updating. So after we insert our record, we're trying to update its start date to the past to check whether the validation also applies when we try to update. So we're expecting here that the start date, the same code as when we said for insertion, when we said the start date in the past. So here also we're expecting the error code to be the start date field is needed and cannot be set in the past. So now moving to the project test scenarios, the first one is a positive. So we're trying to set the status to completed and check whether we try to check the is completed checkbox to true and check whether the status is gonna be auto updated or not. So as
I'm so sorry, I have to come in here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair to
no,
coders.
it won't take too much. I'll just give
I'm
me
so
2 3 minutes.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Are you? So I would have to call Saman and Daniel to come in with their feedback now, and Sally, as well. Judges to give their feedback on what they've heard so far.
Yeah, I can go first this time, Daniel, if you're okay with that.
Sure.
Sweet. So great job on using the switch statement again in the trigger. Love seeing those modern practices compared to like connecting if statements together. So way to go there. Same thing with the test data factory and using a data factory in there too. I also really liked the wrapper that you guys built for those SOQL and SOSL statements. That was super cool. And I also really liked the usage of the custom labels. I definitely wish I saw that with the other error messages that you guys had, but I'm sure you can easily add that. That's a great way to, prevent a code update or a deployment if those error messages change ever so slightly. You don't need to update the code, rerun the test. You can just kind of update those custom labels, so that's cool. A couple notes of feedback that I saw that I just wanted to share with you guys so you can kind of make those changes or evaluate it, see if it makes sense to do. The first one was on the handle before update within the handler. I think it was the due date check, but I would need to double check. Unless it's part of the requirement, with the way that that logic was written, you could potentially like block all kind of updates that happen on existing records that have had that due date passed because you weren't doing a check of the old record and the new record to see if the due date itself has changed before you threw a validation on the due date. So one potential scenario could be like if I set the due date for tomorrow and then 2 days from now I'm overdue on the task, but I want to go and still say it's completed, I would be blocked from doing that because the due date's yesterday at that point, if that makes sense. So you could kind of prevent that by kind of checking to make sure that it's the due date value that changed before you go and block the user saying the due date needs to be in the future. A couple other small things, and again, I know this is all a little more technical, but hopefully you guys see value in that type of feedback. If not, tell me to stop and I'll stop. But another thing was just missing some null checks and just like defensive programming around checking the due date. I think there's potential for someone to create a task without a due date, and if they did, they might get a null pointer exception back at them in the UI instead of like a pretty formatted error message. Error message. You might want to check that. And then the other thing that I noticed too, super small, but in the handler itself, you don't need to prefix the class name with all the method calls. Whenever you're calling a method that's in the same class, you can just call the method without prefixing the class name. It just adds a little bit less noise. Obviously, the code compiles and runs, but it's one of those things where if you're just like reading hundreds and hundreds of lines of code trying to like debug some problem, it's always good to kind of like have like less code, I guess is a good way to say it, just so you don't have to like think about some extra pieces of information that you don't always need to think about. But overall, I think you guys did great. I love everything that you guys have learned and showed us, and can't wait to see where you guys take this next. Daniel, over to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and so now that I've seen both Afro Coders and Apex nerds, I'm noticing I'm very impressed at how well the teamwork aspect flowed on both of them. So like handing it over to different presenters to show different parts. It seemed like everybody in the team did a really good job highlighting their respective piece that they're demoing. I didn't realize that when we just saw the first one, but by the second one, I was like, wow, they really did divide and conquer really well. So I just wanted to highlight that. Also, yeah, on the custom labels, I was very happy to see that. That's actually a pretty advanced technique, and that this is something once you get into the ISV world, and building ISV apps is one of the most advanced, kind of realms to write Apex in, because you're having to write a program that potentially hundreds or thousands of different customers are using. So it's much harder to write an ISV app than it is like just customizing an org for a single customer. So yeah, using those labels as a best practice there, particularly, one, if the customer wants to change the way it looks, but two, for internationalization for different languages, that kind of things, translation workbench. So very happy to see the custom labels and the error messages. I also was impressed the comments in the code, the way you're putting the requirements in there. So, maybe those don't live throughout the whole life cycle, but having them in there now was definitely huge to understand what each piece of code is supposed to do without having to open up a whole nother screen and try to figure out what the requirements were. You have them right there in the code. And I saw when you were saving another advanced topic, you were doing a partial save, and you were taking the, basically it's like if you're inserting multiple records and some of them fail, the ones that succeed still go through. It's that partial success all or nothing flag. I was kind of, it was cool to see that being used, but then also the way you were logging the ones that failed in a custom error log object. That's another pretty advanced technique. That was cool to see. Yeah, I was kind of blown away at the, I don't know if this was based on the requirements or, but the fact that you built the search utility and then you had the SOSL with the wrapper, that's not easy stuff at all. I mean, the object name, get describe, all this stuff. This is definitely, I'm surprised to see this in a, I don't know what level this, if this is an intro level, but that was definitely another advanced topic, and it looked like you did a very good job with that. And then also in the test methods, that last parameter on your assertion, that error message that you throw on the screen when the assertion fails, that's an optional parameter, but you actually went ahead and used it everywhere. So that's huge, because when those tests fail, if you don't use that, good luck trying to figure out why they failed. You have to dive into the code. And so again, this is something like if another developer is picking it up later, those meaningful assertions, why they failed, those are super valuable. They tell you exactly, we expected this to happen and it didn't, and it tells you the value you got instead. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that optional parameter used everywhere, even though you don't have to use it. You were. I think those were my main comments. Yeah, great. Oh, actually, yeah, we did see the other one was when you're adding the validations. This was an example. So Afro Coders showed it added at the record level, and Apex Nerds showed it added at the field level. So I was happy we got to see what those validations look like in both cases, attached kind of at the bottom of the window as well up at the field in the window, so we could see how the Apex presents itself differently in the UI when there's an error.
Great.
Yeah, thank you so much. And so sorry we couldn't demo the whole thing, guys. But thank you, Saman, thank you, Daniel, and Sally. Thank you so much for your time and energy. Like you give it us a lot of time and energy, and you stayed patient with us, and that takes a lot of effort. And thank you so much.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for the team. I know we want to move to the next, and I would thank all the groups at the end. So stay tuned. I want to give the time for the next group to start presenting.
Ayub is going for the bonus point, Sally.
Yes, yes,
Ayub
yes.
is going for the bonus points.
No,
All right.
the challenge they implemented, it was an extra requirement, the SOQL and the SOSL with the wrapper. So I'm super happy and glad that they tried to work on it and did their best to present it today and do the implementation. It was an extra challenge. It wasn't a requirement that it's a must to be done. So I'm happy to see them working on it as well. That's great.
All right, Apex Nerds, you heard it from your coach. She's loving it. So again, guys, get ready to be blown away with the name of the next team to present. Drum roll if you guys are ready for Trigger Tackles. I really don't know where they're getting these names from, man. I'm loving them. Yes, Trigger Tackles, we are ready for you guys.
Hello, everyone. This is Monica. I don't know why my screen turns black and white, but we will go for it. So, 1 second, I'm sharing my screen. So first, I want to thank Sally for being very, very, very patient, and she was amazing the whole time teaching us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Having a lot of meetings with us, so she was great, really. So first, our team is Lebagong Vincent, Miriam, Saif, and me. We are 4 in this team. So yeah, we are Trigger Tacos. So I will give it to Miriam to start the project handler, and I will share my screen.
Hello, everyone.
Monica, do you want to close like we see my face in front of your screen? Okay. Yeah, good now. Sorry.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. As Monica said, we are very grateful, Sally, for giving us the chance. Some of us are very new. We've not done coding for some years, and now coming to do Apex all afresh. It has been exciting. And without wasting much of the time, I'm going to take you through our project Trigger Handler. And as it has been explained before, the trigger handlers are the ones which carry our logic and business rules so that we give our triggers less logic and cluttering inside there. So on our project handler, we were given the assignment to create a project, and then in that project is supposed to auto create a task called kickoff task. So in our project Handler, we created various methods. One was the before insert and update to make sure that we make sure that we check the end date of our projects, so that the end date is in the future. It's not supposed to be today or in the past. Then after that, once we have done checking both the end date before we insert and when updating, then we made sure that our project is able to insert our kickoff task with the given specifications. Monica, you can click on the project handler. Yeah, thank you. So that we make sure that we are giving every detail of what was required in our project. We create a list of tasks, what we want to insert in that project. So we created public methods, and just below the public methods we had private methods. Can you scroll down, Monica? Yes. The private methods, so that we can be able to validate the end date, not to be in the past or not to be today. So, and we added the error so that it can show us when the date, we can validate the fact that the end date is not supposed to be today or in the past, and it's supposed to be in the future. Monica, you can create a sample project. We validate all that before I give it to yeah, end date is supposed to be in the future, and that is a good thing for us. Now you can make the end date to be something in the future, so that we can save it and see the auto-created task. Yeah, so we go to the related, and we see our kickoff task is there with the date +2, that is 18th, status not started, and priority is medium, and it has appended the project name so that it can have the parent and the child in one place. Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome Monica to take us through the unit testing for the project.
So first we made we made the test data factory. So this actually was my first time to hear about data factory at all from Sally. So it's great to add the data inside it instead of creating data inside that the test itself. So it was very organizing. So first I created one project to test with, and then testing with the bulk projects. So here in the test, first, I will test with one test creation. This is the positive test. So first, we creating this method to create the project from the test factory, that the data we had here, and then querying over it, and then adding our asserts, get the query to get the project. And then with the bulk project creation, the same thing we get from the project test factory as well. And then querying on the project created, and then querying on the project tasks, which should be 30, because there were 30 projects and 30 project tasks. And then for the negative scenario, this was actually not in the requirements. This was, there was like mentioning negative scenarios, but we decided to make in the project handler, we decided to make an end date because it didn't make sense to make the start date before the end date. Sorry, the end date before the start date. So we tested this scenario as well, the negative scenario. If the date is like 10 days ago or something. But Saman pointed out that this will probably make an error in the future, so it was a good point for us. Yeah, and yeah, I presented the test factory, yes. Yeah, so that's it. Our test actually, this test had like after I ran this test, it has 10%, 100%, sorry. All the tests are successful. I can run it, but I am afraid it will take time, so I will hand it over to Saif to explain the project task itself.
Hello everyone, my name is Saifuddin Walid. First, I want to thank Sally about her hard work with us and her encouragement. Then I want to talk about my part in this project. First, I worked in this project on the part of project task handler and the triggers. The project task handler and the project it makes some validations on creating tasks. First, I want to can you, Monica, is a trigger? Yes. First, I work on the triggers and limit project task triggers with 2 events, before insert and before update. And I will choose the switch on triggers for operation type before insert and before update. Before insert, I use it to work on the due date that should be in the future, and the is completed checkbox must be not checked from the creation situation. Can you know the project task handler?
Oh, sorry. 1 second.
Okay. I make a class handler called the project task trigger handler. First, I make 2 public 2 methods. First is handle before insert and handle before update. The handle before insert is worked on the validation due dates. That's validation works on the due dates and make it not creation, make it not from the past or today, and they must be in the future from creation. And they check new task status. And this I make it to ensure that there is completed checkbox not checked when creation. And I make another situation that the completed status can't be a choice from creation too, because I think that no makes sense that is completed is unchecked and we can choice completed from status when creation. So I make this and for the before update, I add the due date task 2 to make sure that the user can update the due date to be before or today. That makes sense. We want him to make it only for the future dates and not on the past or today from creation or from update. And I add another handler for property that it works when we choose high from the property when creation, we can't choose another choices from the choices. So we can't choose low or medium from it when update. And I make another one For is completed, when we completed when we choice completed, the status automatically be completed. That's all. We can try to make it. When we choose the day pass, or so when the due date is in the past, it gives me an error, and it's within the field, not within the object. And when we chose the same day of creation, it's give me another error.
I think we can try completed status.
Okay.
Because of the time.
Give me another error that we can't choose completed when creation. And when we check the is completed checkbox, it gives me another error within the field.
I will show the high.
When update, there are two. We can't lose the high, and we can choose due date in the past from the update situation 2. It will give me an error too. And that's it. We can go to Victor to explain the test.
Thank you, Saif.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Ndlovu, and I'll take you through the project task trigger handler test. The objective of this test is to validate all business rules enforced by the project task trigger, which will cover the before insert trigger logic, before update trigger logic, happy path, set path, and bug testing. So yes, Inka, can you go up at the top? The test setup method. This method creates a shared test data that is reused by all method. It creates a project custom object record using the project data factory that Monica just showed you earlier on.
Should I go back?
No.
This one?
Yes. So the one test that we created at the bottom. Then as we go along, we set the project task date to start in the future and makes the project available for all test methods. That's the objective of the start test setup method. It runs once per text class, reduce duplicates. Can you go up a bit, Monica? Reduce duplicates and consistent and predictable test data. And it's also for Salesforce best practice. So for the set path, we did an invalid due date, which the test handle before insert invalid date, which we know it will throw an exception. So we queried through wanting to retrieve the ID, the project ID, and to validate that the project is being created. So we created a project task with a pass date, and then with a false complete and a medium priority, a medium. Yes, it's medium priority. Yes, and we queried the project test in the test setup, and then now we did try and can you go to that? Now we did we isolated the test for governor limits where we use the test.start-test method and the test.stop-test method, which it will isolate this block of code. And we attempted to insert the task that we know it won't be inserted, and then we will get the exception. Then we tried and catch the exception that we know it will be tried and cached, and the other set path and the negative testing also to add. This confirms that the error message contains due date must be in the future, and the insert is blocked, invalid data is not saved, and business rule is successfully enforced. So for the set path or negative testing, we did for is complete is true. Then we know we try to we retrieve the valid project record query through the SOQL, and then we said the is complete is true. So this is the before insert trigger. This will stop the thing to be saved, and the assertion confirms that the message contains that cannot be marked as complete upon creation. So this insert prevents. We try to insert a task that we know it won't be inserted, and then we tried and catch. We use also the test.start test method to isolate the block of code, and we tried and catch the error. And we know that the assertion will be there to if it goes, we assert that it should fail, and then there's a true assertion as well. So then we're changing priority from high. It's also a set path, which is negative testing. Then this we changing a priority from high and downgrade it to low. So we also queried through to retrieve the ID, and then we updated we created a project record, and then we added a task in the future date, and then there is complete is false and the priority is high. So we inserted a task that we know it won't be inserted. Then this is the before update. When you save and you update, then it should throw an exception when you put the priority to high, and then you later downgrade it. So this creates we queried, as I was saying, we queried through the ID, and then we created to validate the project ID, and then this confirms that the exception will be thrown, and the priority cannot be changed from high to low. So for the happy path, we put a valid date. We put a valid due date, which is a positive test. Then we retrieve the project like before, and then we created a task with a future due date. We inserted the task that we know that the task will be inserted, and then we use the test, and we isolated the block test, the block of code with test.start test and test.stop test. And then the asset, it should be not null because we know that the record will be created. This is a positive testing. So also for is complete, we created is complete to false, and we queried through the SOQL to validate the project is being created. And then we know that the insert task will be created and it shouldn't be null. So we also did, you can go down, Monica, thanks. Yes. We also did, we use a project task data factory to generate 10 tasks, to execute them inside the test.start test and test.stop test method. And we queried through, yeah. So yeah, I've already said we queried through, so we created a list on that. So we can go to the data factory as well, Monica. Okay. Oh, no, we can go to the slide, please. Slide, okay. So for the slides, project, yeah. Yeah. Yes, for the slide, can you go to the one before this? The first one where all the tests have passed. Yeah, the project test, this run test for the entire project trigger, and we see that all the tests have passed. It's 91%. Yes, you can go to the next slide, Monica. And then this test failed the negative path because we forced an exception with putting a future date rather than a past date in the invalid due date. So we put 2 days after today. So we know that it will fail. And can you go to the next slide? The message that we got is system asset exception, assertion failed. And can you go to the next? I think that's all. And thank you.
Thank you all. This is for the skills we encountered in this sprint. So first, most of us, we didn't know much about Apex, variables and data types. And of course, the trigger and classes, we learned so much about it and how to even aim for more than 75%. And of course, the SOQL and the SOSL, but we didn't have time to do the extra challenge, but we will definitely do it after tonight. And it was a challenge. Sally mentioned that we should mention our challenges. It was a challenge to finish all the videos on time because of the only 1 week and like 10 videos, but it was a great challenge. And of course, the object-oriented, it's very hard, but we are trying to learn every day. And the homeworks, of course. And yeah, that's all. We did at first make a lot of mistakes, like creating everything in the project and the trigger itself and stuff. But after a lot of code review with Sally, she was perfect. You teach us so much. So thank you, and thank you, my team. Thanks everyone.
And the first team to finish before time. Amazing.
I don't know how much time we'll have left, but
You
yeah,
finished
we can
in
show our
22
mistakes
minutes almost.
before.
Yeah.
Well, they have
20
just
days?
You can show the test.
minute left, so big
can
ups
show the
to
test.
Trigger Tacos. Trigger Tacos, big ups to you.
Thank you.
So the floor is all yours, Daniel and Saman and Sally, to give your feedback on this too as well.
Should we let Sally go first this time?
Yeah, for sure. So I want to like appreciate the effort the team put together. I'm very proud of them. They worked really hard and they worked together as a team. Like from day one, they were very organized and they behind the scenes, like they didn't show this, but they were working with an impressive like meetings. They had stand-up meetings and they were meeting every day to discuss what they did and what are the obstacles and how to overcome it. So that was a great thing. And also they seeked help, and that's a great skill, I would say, in any developer. Like when they are not sure about something, to ask the right questions, and that helped them a lot in the what they were able to demo today. Because there was concepts with the crush time we had, like it wasn't very clear at some point, but with the questions we were able to clarify it, and I can see that they got it very well and the output is amazing. So I'm really proud of the team that they worked really hard and worked together. And I can sense as well they did a dry run for their presentation. They were on time and finished on time. So I have to say that was a great thing to see. And again, all the teams, thank you so much. You did a great job being here today and to demo and like to have everything up and working, not fearing to demo and like to show everything you did. That was impressive for everyone, and all the teams did a great job. And every team, they had their strong skills they were in, and they had their challenges. So all of them, all the teams, they were great working together and seeking help whenever they needed. So great job, everyone.
Yes, great job, guys. Yes, Daniel, Saman?
Can go. I don't want to be too repetitive. There's a lot of the same feedback I'd have from the other teams. overwhelmingly good, but I wanted to point out some new things too. So I was focusing on things that I hadn't seen before. So in your test factories, you might be inserting one record or bulk records. And I saw this used some places and not others, but I think it was really good to assert that the data in your test context is the size, the number of records that you're expecting. So I saw that. I think you were inserting projects and you queried all the projects in your test context there, and you said, make sure the list is 30. I think that's really important before you start diving into asserting that values are correct or that like your business logic is correct. It's really good to validate that your test data has how you expect it, because it might be how you expect it when you first write it, but then later as you're working on your test factory more, you might change that. And now your tests might start failing and you might think it's a problem with your Apex code, your business logic, but it's really because you're performing that test on different records now than you were originally. So make sure that you're not only checking for the size of your test data, but also put an order by clause on there. So you know that if you're looking for the first record or the last record, that's always going to be the same record that you get. Like what happens later on down the road, you end up with these test failures that might sometimes pass and sometimes fail. And we used to call those flappers because they like flap, sometimes they fail or not. And a lot of that is because of these data things. You're getting a different record that you're testing on. So I saw it being used some places, so good job there. And just wanted to point that that aspect out. There was also a minor thing. The trigger that was calling the handler looked really good in terms of functional, but aesthetically it looked like needed some indenting fixing. So that's really easy to do. And I think thinking about your code and how it looks when you get to that, like taking pride in it like it's artwork or something like that, that's really an advanced level topic. So getting it working is important, but also having it look nice, I think, is a cool thing. And it's part of kind of the passion for your craft and that kind of thing. I liked how you really asserted, you really pointed out over and over again the start test and stop test. Those are optional things, but using them is very useful, particularly so when you start building a lot of functionality, like say in this project management app, when you start adding more and more requirements, what might end up happening is your test methods might fail because of governor limits. So just to put in all that test data uses a lot of governor limits, and it's the same context as when you start running the test methods. And so by the time you get to running your test methods, it might blow up the governor limits, something like too many SOQL queries or too many DMLs. So using that start test, right when you start actually running the tests, gives you a new set of governor limits. So you're really setting yourself up for being able to enhance these apps with a lot of features in the future and still run the tests successfully without blowing up the governor limits. So I was happy to see that. And then I really, when I saw those last two slides on the skills that you learned and the challenges you have, it really just struck me again. I mean, I kind of take this stuff for granted because I've been doing it for so many years, but to see the advanced level stuff, I mean, you're talking about, well, you guys had to figure out what the heck object-oriented programming was. I mean, that's something that took me like years in college to really wrap my brain around, and you guys had to figure this out on short order while you're learning Apex. It's just pretty phenomenal when you stand back and reflect on what you've learned here. So I like the fact that you did that reflection, and it really helped me realize how amazing it is, just the depth of expertise that you gain in a short amount of time here.
Yeah, I'll hop in here real quick too. I just wanted to reiterate how great this was, and like you were saying, Daniel, and like how you kind of pointed out, Monica, going from learning variables just a month ago to being able to build a trigger and get 90% code coverage or above that on your tests just really shows the huge leap in your abilities just over such a short span of time. And obviously a great testament to Sally and her teachings too. Can't go without saying that. But you guys too, for all the time, effort, and love that you're putting in to the work that you do just to better your own skill set and better yourself. Lots of great things throughout the code. Daniel hit on a lot of them, right? From the trigger, the handler. Overall, the code was really well. Yeah, some small like indenting things here and there for sure. I thought the presentation was really great. Loved how you guys isolated the test with the start and stop test. Not only does it help you out in those governor limit situations that Daniel talked about, but also can help readability too. If someone's reading a test for the first time, it helps them differentiate, okay, what's part of the test setup and getting the test ready versus what actual situation is under test. A couple nitpicks. These are just like really small things just to nitpick. They really might not matter all that much. I'll just share them in case it's interesting to anyone or you guys wanted to feedback or wanted to action the feedback just to like get a sense of what I'm talking about. One thing was during in the tests themselves, I saw that y'all were querying like select ID from project limit one. One of the things that makes writing Apex tests and maintaining Apex tests a little challenging sometimes is when they're brittle. An example of this could potentially be in the future if someone adds another project to the test setup. So now you have two projects within that test context. If they don't know to come and change your SOQL query to only select the project that used to be there, that might potentially break some of your tests and it could cause like a flapper situation like the one Daniel called out where during development the SOQL query might have picked up the right project record and you think everything's looking good. But when you promote it to like a UAT environment or production, that test could potentially start failing because it's picking up the newer project record that got created. Just an example. Another small thing too was when we're catching exceptions, I noticed that we're catching a generic exception instead of maybe potentially a more specific DML exception. I think what saved us there is the fact that we're checking for the exception message in the catch block itself. So even if a null pointer exception did happen during that test or something else, we still would have been okay because we have the more explicit message check in there. But just something to keep in mind in general about being intentional about what type of exceptions you're catching. And that could also help with code readability if someone else is reading your code too, to know that you specifically care about DML exceptions causing the error, not a SOQL exception or a list exception, etc. And then one other small thing too, this one's super opinionated, but a lot of the tests depend upon the error messages showing up the way that they did in the requirements. And this could, depending on who you talk to, be another example of like a brittle test. So if the exception message or the error message needs to change slightly in the actual like trigger handler, it might be a little like annoying, I guess, to go into the test itself and update the error message. It might be a good use case for like a custom label, so you don't have to keep copying and pasting the error message in between the different classes. But other people actually kind of might say that's a good thing and they do want to like copy and paste. So it kind of depends on what school of thought you're in. But overall, that's way too many nitpicks. I think you guys did a great job. Kudos to you guys. And I can't wait to see where you take this next.
Yes, I can't agree more with Saman and Daniel. I was just mind blown. Anyone who is not a developer joins this session, and I bet you they'll just love to dive deep into development because what we saw is a bit mind blowing. And for the time, yes, the teams have done amazingly well. So from here, we have to say a big congratulations to everybody for the hard work and dedication, curiosity, and of course, we can't do this without the Trailblazer spirit. And something special for you guys. I'm going to be putting a survey in the group because we are all going to be judges. Guys, you have to be objective and vote for the group you feel came out with the best presentation. And before we dive into winners and all of that, I have a special someone a mentor, a friend, someone who is very special to the ecosystem to come say something to all three groups. Shegun, are you on call? Hello,
Hello.
Shegun.
Oh, hello. As you get my dog and my kiddo behind me. So I want to just say what I saw today was remarkable. I think that in my experience, I've actually coached solution engineers, sellers, and others and with their demos and presentations. And so when I saw this, I first thought, wait, they keep talking about the use case. That's incredible. The presentation was really detailed about use case, use case, use case. And I think when I'm hearing people like Daniel Peter say, let me give you more feedback, that's because it's showing that you've already thought through things that necessarily you wouldn't think you're already thinking through a month after being coached. And so, Sally, I want to give you a huge shout out because whatever methodology you're using, the fact that you're hearing that much support and care and love for what people are learning from you, I think is essential. It was remarkable. Now, when you come back and you look at your presentations, I want to highlight something that has been mentioned. You came through as groups, and it's very difficult to demo as a group. It's very difficult to understand who's going to have this, how are we going to make sure this person shines. And I think all three groups did this effectively. You actually made sure people had opportunities to shine. You had opportunities to really dive into something that was of interest, and that passion, I think, came through very loud and clear. Now, what you're going to have to deal with as you move forward is you are entertaining individuals as you're doing these demos. You're teaching them what's possible. I think that from what I saw, y'all were extremely polished for a month in, and it's frightening. So what I can say is, if that's after 1 month, and you're already looking at the error codes, the messaging, and trying to go deeper in, imagine what it's going to look like 3 months from now. Imagine what it's going to look like 6 months from now. Imagine when you're about 10 to 15 years in, like some of us are, you'll be on this channel laughing and thinking that you are ahead of the curve because we're looking at you going, oh, yeah, I didn't know that until I was about 6 years in, or I didn't think about that use case, or you're taking a certification or something, and you're like, oh yeah, this bad use case, which is on the test, but I know the best practice. You were able to literally walk through all the bad practices and why you had made that decision. That shows understanding. So if you leave it knowing that you understand something and that people who are actually been through it respect you enough to provide feedback that I have heard them provide to CEOs, to their peers. Uh, Daniel's laughing because he knows exactly what I'm talking about because we've had to give feedback in the past to people. And I know how he gives feedback. So the fact that he gave that same feedback to you, dropping the notes about you already thinking about use cases of scalability with region language, you're ahead of the curve. You've got the right coaching. It's up to you to continue to take that on to understand it. But with this community, I have no doubt about it. So again, thank you. I'll leave it at that. I'll go back to just supporting and enjoying and being inspired. So thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Shegun. It's always amazing to listen to Shegun. It's so inspiring, and I hope you guys know that Code Sally and Africa Ohana are giving you guys a great gift today. You're hearing from amazing people, and I don't think any of you should take this for granted. The program you've been through and the inside feedback you're getting is one of a kind. So we have 19 votes in so far. Guys, you guys have to keep voting because we have some amazing prizes for the winners. Courtesy Camp Apex and Code Sally and Africa Ohana. So keep the votes coming in whilst we continue with the session. Yeah, okay, 19 votes so far. So Sally, just let me know when you're ready with the results so I can display for them. So no campaigning here, guys. So We had Maxwell to give a remark earlier, but I think he would be given we do have some winners, but I think we need to give ourselves a little time before we can get the winners out. Sally, should I go ahead and okay, you just sent me a file. Thank you.
Yeah, we have more votes came in, but same result.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. So do I give the announcement now or guys, drum roll. Put in the chats right now, guess, just give me who you think won. Maybe let's see who if you could guess right. Maybe I would give you a Christmas gift if you guessed right. Okay, so I see a tie. No, Daniel, we don't do ties here. I see Apex Nerds. Okay, Apex Nerds. Apex Nerds, hopefully. Yeah. Um, okay. It's tight, guys. It's tight. So, drum roll, guys. And I will be sharing that soon. Let me see. Your winner, guys, are you ready? Is Apex Nerds. Apex Nerds, you guys are the winners. Yes, you can unmute. And if we have anybody from Apex Nerds yeah, drum roll.
Wow. We won.
All right, and in second place we have, oh, Sally, is there second place? Because we are all winners. In second place we have Afro Coders. And I'm sorry, Trigger Tacos. Aside having the best name, sorry, but you lost in the votes. Okay, so we'll be reaching out to the groups with your prizes, but we do have other prizes for good people who performed really well during the program. Give me a sec whilst I share my screen. So these are the Camp Apex winners, and the winners we have are Gotham and Joel Machango. Guys, keep the emojis coming. Round of applause to Gotham and Joel Machango for being the Camp Apex winners. And each of you get a free certification voucher, courtesy Camp Apex. And we do have more winners from hardworking participants. Guys, if you see your name here, just know that you've got a free certification voucher. Nahum, are you? Lebogang and Monica. I see Lebogang so excited. Oh,
Yes, yeah.
smiling.
Thank
You
you.
guys did a
Wow,
great
didn't
job.
expect that.
Oh, Code with Sally, Africa Ohana, the gift that keeps on giving. So we move on to the next part of the show. And we have Maxwell to give us closing remarks. Maxwell, if you're on call. He was part of the training team. Maxwell is the head of the training team in Africa Ohana. So, Maxwell, if you're on call, can you unmute and just give some remarks?
All right. Thank you very much, Caleb. Good evening. I apologize for joining a little bit late. I was in another meeting before this meeting hold on, so I could have to finish the first minute to join. And once again, on behalf of the leadership of Africa Ohana, we want to salute Sally for this powerful work you keep on doing for the mother Africa and then the world. When we reached out to you some time ago and And this year, we were trying to pull out this whole initiative. We started from the beginning of the year, but we couldn't find a proper schedule because your time is like a what we call it, like a goat. You are busy everywhere, every day, but you were able to give us a time from November to today, and we are so much grateful for what you keep on doing for us, keep on doing the community, helping the individual to begin to level up in their in their Salesforce journey, especially in the dev areas. Oh, our guests who show up today, and our guests, I want to say thank you very much. Without you, without your feedback for the team, it's going to be just a one-man show without you coming to support Sally. And I'm so grateful for what you also keep on doing. I've heard about Danny. Danny, I think for Daniel, I've heard about you from one of my mentors when I started Salesforce 3 years ago, because the dev area was one of my challenges. I heard about you, some that I follow, some of your work you keep on doing, and all that's for for my mind. Sengo, I really appreciate you for the West African Dream, what you came to share with us, and what you keep on doing in the ecosystem. And for the participants, this is what my one of my mentors should tell me. He said, Without you, it's just like speaking to an empty winds. And you make this program so lovely." We started with about 200 people, but you were the only few who take on the baton. You said that we are not going to leave this baton alone. We are not going to leave Sally alone to come to the webinar and be talking to only empty people. By show up, you keep on doing the assignments, you keep on knocking on your door, you keep on showing up. I want to say it on behalf of the team, congratulations to you. And this shouldn't be where you stop. There are many plans we have for you, because you are going to be the one we are going to hold on to develop you into becoming who Sally wants you to guys to become in the dev areas. So we have another plan for you next year, a powerful one. You'll be the one we are going to hold on. We are not going to bring we'll have a session for new people who would like to join later. But for you new people, we are going to hold you again for next year for another powerful training from Sally. It's going to take you through to upgrade you from where you are to a certain level. Please don't stop the practice over up to from after we are done with today's meeting. No, Sally have amazing YouTube. Have a full of lessons there. You have Sally, what we call Code with Sally, where if you are stuck somewhere, you can reach out to her. Out of her busy schedule, you will still find a time to be able to respond to your message. So please let it not stop. Let's continue to make the world bigger. Let's make Salesforce great. Let's make Africa Ohana also great. And thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Maxwell. Thank you so much, Maxwell. Guys, I think we've had a lot of fun today. Again, let me give a big shout out to the Africa Ohana leadership team, to you participants, and also our guests who came today, Daniel, Saman, and Shegun. God bless you, and thank you for always supporting the community. Again, if you really want to dive into the Apex and code, like Maxwell said, kindly check out, if you can just take out your phones and kindly check out Sally's pages. Right now, I've shared the screen so you can follow up on learning material and how to get yourself up right there in the Apex coding world, in the developer world. So we've had so much fun. I'm going to give Daniel and Saman 5 minutes to just give us one last remark, and then it's good night, everybody.
Daniel, I'll go first real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Cool. Honestly, I don't have much to say. A lot of it's been said. I'm just so impressed by you guys. And all I want to say is this is just the beginning. right? Like the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want at this point. This is just the cusp for a potential new reality for you guys where you spend the next few months and carry this momentum into the new year where you just keep going, keep learning and better yourselves. So if that's what you choose to do, I'm rooting for you guys. Let me know if there's anything I can do as well to help you guys out, but I can't wait to see all your success and just kudos on all the hard work.
Yeah, I didn't exactly know what to expect when I was invited to join, and I'm actually pretty blown away by the impact Sally's made through this. So I know everybody's given her a lot of love and a lot of shout outs, but I just wanted to give mine to Sally. It's really incredible what she's done here, and all of the students, a testament. They were all saying how great she was, and teaching is very hard. And to be able to teach something, you have to understand it at a very deep level, deeper level than just practicing it yourself. So obviously, that shows what an expert Sally is in this realm. And for her to give her time like this is pretty amazing. And also, just big picture, AI is taking over a lot of this space, Agent Force and generative AI, but Apex is always going to be around in the Salesforce ecosystem. It's what wires all these things together. So I think it's still a very valuable skill set, but I would also make sure to learn Apex, but also go all in on AI, because that's where a lot of the jobs are going to be going. So if you know both of those, you'll be super valuable. You can use the best of both worlds. You can use generative AI to solve these difficult problems easily, and then you can make the user experience really good in terms of feeding AI the right data and invoking AI in a really nice, user experience, and processing the results of AI and showing them on the screen, that kind of thing. So, yeah, just keep learning. Polish up Apex. It sounds like maybe you're going to move into Lightning Web Components. That'll be huge. And then, should just try to be an innovator in the AI space. Start playing with that Agent Force as soon as you can.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. Yes, Shegun.
I have to piggyback off what everyone said. This is just your entry point into your journey. Everything that was said about AI, I will highlight what you've been able to prove, though. Human intelligence will dominate the other ones because you have to understand the process. You have to understand how it works. You have to be able to understand what the output is, which is why you were hearing the feedback you just got about how you need to do both. So as you move forward in your careers, I will tell you it's not just going to be both. It's going to be you need to do 10 things at once, and you have to figure out which ones are a priority. I will say that multiple people on this call who you have now met will be able to help you as you start prioritizing. And they're the type of people where you can reach out and ask those questions about, hey, I'm seeing this. Do you think this is like where I should spend 20% of my time on this? You're going to have that moving forward. So just be prepared for it, because that's what you signed up for your career. That's it.
Caleb, you are on mute.
Yeah, sorry guys. We've had a wonderful evening and the presentations were absolutely wonderful. This is what a time to do this during Christmas when we are all giving and enjoying the festivities, and Camp Apex, Coda Sally, Africa Ohana, Daniel Peters, Saman, Shegun, Maxwell. We have everybody here just soaking everything up in. All I can say is thank you guys for all of this, and Merry Christmas to all of you.
Thank you all. And I sent you
Till
the
next
next
time.
playlist as a homework. You can start on it. And thank you, everyone. Thank you. And it was a great pleasure to be with you, everyone in the cohort. And I'm super proud. I can enjoy the break and Christmas feeling that I achieved something this year and help someone learn something new. thank you so much for everyone and everyone who joined to get today to cheer for the learners and everyone who learned something new. And it's not the end, it's the beginning. Thank you.
Yes, and learners, all those in the cohort, just stay tuned in your emails for the sets for all winners and for the free vouchers, and then the winner, and then all of you for your certificates. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.